Hi guys, it's Sunday and consistency is key. So no matter what happened last week, we show up, we do the work, and we anchor ourselves in the higher time frame truth. You know me, all about the higher time frames, right? So last week I spoke about something very important, that's gold and silver diverging. Historically, gold and silver move in alignment. They don't move like point by point, but structurally they tend to confirm each other. And when they don't, that's information. At the start of the week, if I go back down to, let me go to the hourly chart just to make this a little bit clearer on both pairs. I'll show you. Right, back to the start of the week here. Same with gold, right? So yeah, at the start of the week, both gold and silver were ranging. There was no real continuation, no expansion. This is just consolidation between prices here, right? Yes, there were some moves in there. Definitely could have caught some moves. But essentially, we had no real move, there was no takeoff. So, of course, this is where patience matters the most because range conditions are designed to create emotional decisions. And yeah. Anyway, silver had previously shown that weakness, making that lower low on the daily, which I mentioned last week. And that's here. And then gold had made a higher low on the daily, hence we spoke about the divergence here, right? So yeah, obviously gold to me was holding structure, but the divergence told us something important, and that was not to force bullish continuation prematurely and not to force sells without confirmation either. So the correct action during that period was just to wait. And eventually gold started showing signs of rebuilding bullish structure. So if I get rid of silver for now, go back to gold. If you look at gold itself, like on the daily time frame, the structure does remain bullish. So price made that major expansion. Obviously, if we go back from the 4402 area, pushed all the way up to 5602. Obviously, I have my pivot points on because they're very helpful for me. Yeah, of course, that was a very impulsive bullish movement. And then what followed was a correction. And, corrections are normal. Prices just go up in a straight line. Importantly, though, when price did fall back, it did not break the higher time frame, higher low. So to me, that means the daily bullish structure remains intact. And we are still operating within a bullish market environment until proven otherwise. So if I go down to the 4 hour now, we saw price form a swing low. So in fact, here, if I go to the hourly, actually this would have printed it for me. Yeah, exactly. This is what I love, the pivot indicator. So yeah, on the H1 we had price print 4878. And that's a key level because that is a level that protected the high time frame structure. So go back to the 4 hour, right? From there, prices started pushing up higher. On Friday, we saw that price was pushing back up towards the 5,000 area. We closed around 5,042. So prices really kind of reclaimed, yeah, as I said, bullish structure. It's holding above and it's moving back towards a high, which tells us the correction may be complete. I'm not saying it definitely is. But yeah, continuation is attempting to form here. So back on the hourly chart, we can see if we move down here, it's even clearer, right? Price is building the high lows and attempting to push upward, and it has been since, after making that low on Thursday. There was a nice little sell-off here, definitely some moves, as I mentioned before, like this was like consolidation. This is not really the type of environment that I like to trade in. I like to, I want to see price break some of these lows, which it did. But as we know, gold doesn't stay down for very long. So if you caught that, great. But yeah, you should be out of those now because we've definitely pushed up damn near 1,000 pips since then. So yeah, again, we'll just focus on this area here. That 4878 area is protected low. Anyway, key levels for this week, the levels that matter On the upside, the key continuation level is 5119, which is over here. And that opens a path towards higher levels and ultimately a move back towards those highs at 5602. You know, gold loves an all-time high. It's, you know, I'm not predicting it, but it's very possible, right? And on the downside, the level that invalidates the bullish continuation on the H4 and on, you know, yeah, on the H4, H1 is the 4878 area. If we get a close below there, then of course that invalidates any kind of bullish movement for the time being, and we can look at deeper retracement levels. But until that happens, the structure for me remains bullish, as I always say. So going into this week, I'll look at the 15-minute as well, because this is where I like to take my trades. I always go down to the 15-minute after I see price has made a clear kind of indication on the, which to me is either breaking a swing low or a swing high on the higher time frame. I'll go down to the 15-minute, and that's where I'll look to take my entries. And I always keep these pivot point indicators on, because to me it helps me to kind of mark out where price has stalled or continued. But yeah, so for this week, I'm not really going to be anticipating again. I'm waiting for confirmation. So if price breaks above the resistance and gives a clean pullback, I'll look for continuation buys. Unless you've caught the buys already from Friday. I decided not to trade on Friday. However, I would have very likely held my position if I did, because I do feel like we've swept the lows. So yeah, but going into this week, we'll be looking for a pullback. And yeah, again, as I mentioned, I would only be selling if I saw price break under here. That's, yeah. Or fail. If price failed to break above here, then I would be looking at rejection. But at the moment, I feel like we're going to get a push back up to the 5100 area and above. But yeah, everything comes from structure, not guessing, not forcing, no emotional execution. I've been there, trust me. Just patience and confirmation. So yeah, as I said, the divergence between gold and silver last week told us to be patient. The range told us not to force execution. And now the market is beginning to show its hand this week. Just stay patient, stay disciplined, and execute when structure confirms. So yeah, as usual, as I say, if this video helped you, if it was helpful at all, please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. You can also find me on Instagram. As I mentioned before, my handles are the same, at YehnTrades. And I'm also on Telegram, and I have a channel there with a small amount of us in there. So happy for you to join. Link is in the bio, not the bio, sorry, in the comments. But yeah, anyway, have a great trading week. And yeah, if, like I said, if there's anything I can do that might help you, just, yeah, comment. See you next week.